went in for this film to be engrossed, surprised, and taken aback by the vision of a female secret agent on a mission leaving no stone unturned. Finally, there was some female energy on the big screen leading the charge rather than playing second fiddle to badass male gangsters and being reduced to just being eye candy. This film had a lot of things going against it from the onset. The fact that it got an A certificate, is a stylized action film with a female lead, and that it shares the same date as a commercial entertainer like Bhool Bhulaiya 2. The only way a movie like Dhaakad could stand out and have a life of its own in theaters is if its storyline and treatment would be exceptional, that the word of mouth would do the job. Sadly, I feel this movie is going to struggle to do that because it essentially is a mixed bag in its entirety. Now, there is a common trend on this channel of people waiting in the bleachers to pounce on me to see my review after I have interacted with the celebrity and chastise me if I give a positive review, owing to just the association of the interview. And while this might be a vindictive minority, I still like to preface that I don't feel like I'm going to be selling my credibility anytime soon. Dhaakad focuses on Agent Agni, played by Kangana Ranaut, who is a capable secret agent powering her way through rogue elements in Budapest, only to be assigned her mission in India to tackle the duo of Rudravir and Rohini, played by Arjun Rampal and Divya Dutta respectively, who are running a human trafficking ring from central India among several other illegal activities. How her journey ties into her origin story and transforms into essentially a revenge saga forms the basic storyline of Dhaakad. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Dhaakad in theaters or not. The good. Cinematography. What I think is unanimous regarding Dhaakad, and this is something that we essentially saw in the trailer, is that it showcases exceptional work by Tetsuo Nagata as a director of photography. He provides slick and stylized frames for the film, which becomes essential for an action thriller set across continents. There is this beautiful contrast that he provides between the grand city-like visuals of Budapest and the gritty and rustic nature of central India. Each frame has a primary color taking center stage, representative of the mood of the character or where the storyline is headed. For example, a character like Rudravir is described to be one with the shadows, hence his silhouette is constantly being in the center of the frame as the color palette transitions to become black and white. Agni, in her most memorable action set piece as she powers through a hideout of the rogue group, is represented through red, basically her character trait, filled with unresolved anger. There is absolutely no denying that the frames of this film are mesmerizing. Action set pieces. I was worried about the action choreography and set pieces of this film because of what happened with John Abraham's attack. The existence of several jump cuts and not syncing the choreography entirely with the background score, I think, dampened the impact of an attempt like Attack. Quite on the contrary, I was thoroughly impressed by the action set pieces of this film. The first sequence of ambush where the main character oscillates between ammunition and a mere sword while overwhelmed with several goons concluded with the incessant stabbing while shouting with rage provided the glimpse of what we were stepping in for. The ambush at their hideout leading to a bloody and gory one-on-one with the henchman's right-hand man also accounts for a brilliant action set piece. Where the film gets elevated in its action set pieces, the thread that ties them together is presented in such a rushed and haphazardly manner, you wonder whether it represents the perils of a first-time director. The three pillars. The talents that can help in partly engaging you with the sinking ship of a script are Arjun Rampal, Divya Dutta and Kangana Ranaut. It's admirable of the physical transformation Kangana has undergone for the role of Agni, especially after finishing the body type that she was in the end of the Livy. Where physically she gives everything to this role and excels, it's awkward on the pitch and treatment that they have followed with her character. When she dons the role of several occupations to blend in with the atmosphere, her performance is not understated but animated, especially if you see her posing as the journalist while betting for a fight is taking place. She shines as the monosyllabic and driven Agni, but there is an absolute lack of emotional depth to empathize, root and connect with the character. One of the biggest demerits of the film being the lack of connection we have with her by the end of the film. Arjun Rampal provides a gritty and sadistic portrayal to Rudravir, but the screenplay does a disservice to the man, beautifully carving out his origin story only to forget him and put him in the back burner in the second half. The writing actually strangles these characters from shining, but if there is one actor who absolutely steals the show with her gory, intimidating presence, it's Divya Dutta as Rohini, absolutely killing it as the mafia queen and madame. She is sinister, snarky and steals every scene she features in. Sadly, this cannot be said about everyone associated with the movie. The underwhelming aspects. Overstaying its welcome. I could never imagine that a film that is only 2 hours and 11 minutes long would overstay its welcome. I will come to its rushed and almost bizarre screenplay a little later, but especially in the second half of the film, you know that the characters can easily resolve their issue to going to said goal. The journey is unnecessarily complicated just to showcase another stylized action set piece, prolonging the running time of the film unnecessarily rather than lending to the storyline. I think the movie did not make use of its exhilarating Dhaakad background score at all, at least to pump you up for moments of combat, but the entire charade of having to go to a sheikh disguising as a singer, having a battle with two blondes who are apparently in charge of the torture chamber, only for it not to provide any information just seemed like a waste of time. It actually came across as if they had certain set piece ideas in their mind that they wanted to execute but did not have a screenplay that would tie the scenes together. In order to make it crisp, unapologetic, and engaging, one should understand the motivation of the character and guide the story along from there, rather than having to explain to us why, where, and when every step of the way. Basic storyline and haphazard screenplay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with stylized action films to have a basic storyline, but they work especially if they engage you on the journey of the protagonist. I think I said this in my trailer review as well, that if globally one can celebrate John Wick killing thousands just for a dog, then you know they aren't looking for complex narratives but just an engaging treatment. The core of Dhaakad is as basic as it gets. Trigger and trauma from an early age and the journey of Agni commences, but the treatment almost seemed as if the creators were behind submitting an assignment on deadline day. The scenes are chopped up in such a messy manner that you shift between continents and emotions in such a quick succession you almost get confused and slightly annoyed, and I could only think of this meme throughout. There is absolutely no tehrav in the storytelling, and it doesn't let us sit and empathize with the characters for the moments, because sadly, I can't tell you a single moment that I was emotionally drawn in, and that's basically because the creators wanted to move on to the next thing. I had spoken about this to Lakshraj Anand, the director of Attack as well, that in the process of you feeling that you don't want to waste the time of the audience, you compromise on the effectiveness of your storytelling, not letting us connect with them, and all we are left with are beautiful frames and set pieces, not human stories. Lack of emotional quotient. There is a very poor attempt by the creators in carving out an emotional connection between Agni's origin story and her bond between a young girl that she creates while she's on the mission. There are several times where her traumatic past is played in repeat mode in order for us to empathize and understand why she is drawn to the little girl. But the moments shared between both the characters are so fleeting that it doesn't draw you in to root for them. A lullaby that acts as a thread connecting characters should have an eerie and melancholic tone to it, but it falls flat again due to the narrative being in a rush to move on to the next thing. When I think of the same concept, flashes of the South Korean film The Man from Nowhere played in front of me, of a bond between a little girl and a mysterious cold-blooded loner, done to perfection. Dhaakad just misses the mark in emotionally drawing you in. What becomes dishonorable in movie reviews is when you start showcasing empathy for projects for simply trying something new. The essential component for any film is to engage you with its narrative, and I have to admit that while Dhaakad boasts of aesthetics and stylized set pieces and frames, it fails to grasp hold of your attention because of its weak screenplay, something that becomes a make it or break it element for any film. This had all the ingredients to be legendary if tweaked in several departments, but honestly, it missed the mark in etching itself as the start of something special in the film industry. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.